Hi, and welcome back. It's Fabienne. I'm so happy to have you here. Just really appreciate that you keep showing up with your heart and your soul and your ambition and your aspirations. And I love knowing that I can drop in and just maybe give you some things to think about and just maybe some love and really appreciate you for all that you do for everybody in your life. I see you, my dear sister. Today, we're talking about leading with heart in your business, heart over hustle. And I hope that this episode serves as both a practical guide, but also a reminder or maybe some inspiration on the power of leading with heart in your business, navigating change when it feels difficult, what feminine leadership could look like, and what it takes to grow your business with bold, heart-led decisions that align with your values, that require courage, and that ultimately come down to integrity. And we're going to talk about integrity today. So to start off this episode and what prompted this heart over hustle, I want to share with you my decision to postpone the 3-day Infinite Possibilities event that I've been mentioning here. And some people that I shared this with yesterday said, why? Why would you delay your 3-day event that you've been waiting to do for years? And my answer was, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to go through with the event with all of that's going on in the world, the devastating fires in California, the aftermath of that. The fires are affecting not just the people in the immediate area, but everyone seems to know someone who's lost a home or been displaced. And there's also, I'm feeling a general emotional turmoil that people are experiencing around the world, whether it's political turmoil, whether it's war. There is so much going on. And I made this decision to postpone, not lightly, but really actually thinking a lot about it. It was keeping me up at night. And it was guided by my commitment to doing the right thing, integrity, really looking at making all my decisions from a heart-based perspective, and the principle of prioritizing people over profits. And I was talking about this yesterday to our members of Boldheart Business, announcing to them that we weren't going to do the event. And there was just this quiet that came over the Zoom room. And we started talking about this heart over hustle. Some of them said, oh, Fabienne, we need you to do this event now more than ever. And yet I explained to them that it just doesn't feel right. And sometimes in your own business, you will have to be at this crossroads where the hustle and grind culture, this really, like, I'm just going to call it a masculine business culture, like push through and do it anyway, and collides with the need that I think is a feminine approach, the need to lead with compassion and authenticity, and really addressing the feelings and the emotional state of people that are in your care. And the people in your care also include the people who aren't working with you yet. Like, you and I might not be working together yet, but I feel like you're in my care because you're here and you're listening and you keep showing up. And for me, leadership isn't just about following plans, but it's also about listening to your inner guidance. It's about honoring humanity and, if need be, adapting to challenging times. And we are living in challenging times. 2025 is a year of upheaval. In a way, it's good because it's about ending certain ways of being in the world. If you look at astrology, you might know what I'm talking about. But adapting to challenging times, ideally with grace, with love, with the importance of transparency and vulnerability and authenticity and compassion in your business. And really, it just comes down to doing the right thing, even when it's hard. I want to do this 3-day event. I want to do it in February like it was supposed to happen. But I think it's also important to be flexible and to navigate change when things are outside of your control. And I think this is a more, how do I say this? A more feminine style of leadership, while the masculine energy is really linear and unbending. I'm talking about not men, but I'm talking about masculine energy like yin and yang. And the feminine is more flexible and circular and accommodating. And we're talking today about how business growth doesn't require just following through. While that is important, right? And accountability is something that I teach and that I build into every fiber of my programs. But it's also about making bold, heart-led decisions that align with your values. And so today I want to talk about and unpack integrity and people-first leadership. One of the things I learned when I moved to France, you may not know, but I've been living in France with my husband, Derek, and our 3 children for 8 years. We used to live in Connecticut. I lived in the US for a very long time. And one of the things that I noticed and was talking to our members last night, and they were the ones who said, you need to do a podcast episode about everything we talked about today, Fabienne, which is why I'm doing it. They thought it was really important for you to hear this profound conversation that we had yesterday. And there were some tears of clarity and of mourning and really just some awakening around how we get to do business as women with high ambition, but also high hearts. What I discovered when I moved to France 8 years ago permanently is that here it seems to be people over profit, people over money. I'm not saying everything, of course. Not everything is people over profits here, but the general consensus is that beauty and pleasure and people come before profits and money and greed and accumulation. That's really been settling into my heart the last few years. Other places that I've lived in the world, it seems that it's profit and money and greed and accumulation before people and before doing what's right. I'm not throwing any judgments. I'm not trying to sound intolerant. As I say to my kids, I'm just observing. So this integrity and people first leadership, my choice to postpone the event is about that. It's about prioritizing people's feelings over, selling an event, which would probably have been profitable and very good for the business while we change hundreds of people's lives with this very, very powerful 3-day mindset immersion. But this decision reflects my belief that we as business owners must honor our audience's emotions and circumstances, especially during crises. There are several crises going on in the world right now. We've got the fires in California that have displaced thousands of people, and we have still a war, and we have political division. And it just dawned on me in the middle of the night that, if you launch your own programs or events, you know what it takes to launch. It's like heavy marketing, and it's a lot of emails and a lot of inviting people. And even when you're inviting people from a heart-based perspective, you're still sending a lot of email. And doing that kind of heavy marketing during an event might seem like you're being tone deaf or disrespectful to people who are really grieving. And I thought about it. It kept me up at night, and I chose to lead with compassion and honestly showing our community at large, the audience, the followers, the email subscribers, that I value their well-being over my business goals. I'm not saying this is a heroic event, everybody, okay? I'm just opening up a conversation about when do you put a pause button on stuff you had planned because it just doesn't feel right anymore? And really like that listening to your intuition. I'm sure I've made mistakes. I have made mistakes in the past. In fact, I think back to, you may remember the Sandy Hook school shootings in Connecticut a few years ago. And that really taught me the importance of responding in real time and leading from a place of empathy. And I want to tell you the story about what happened to me. We were launching, I forget what the program was. Maybe it was the Money Magnet Club, or I don't know what the program was. We had built this entire campaign, worked tirelessly on the sales page and the email sequences and the funnels and the masterclass and all the things, that we do to change lives. Because sometimes people need a lot of emails to then go and change their lives by spending time with you. And if I remember correctly, I lived in Connecticut and it was horrifying. I actually know a family from Sandy Hook. I have family who lived in Newtown their whole life. So I met a family many times who lost a child. It's devastating, absolutely unthinkable. And once we found out, I told my team, I said, go home, grab the people you love, tell them you love them, and just be. So take the day off. And I think the next day was Saturday. I don't remember, guys, which day it was, but the next day I got some backlash because we had set up our email sequence to go out the very next morning. And I didn't think about it. I was home. My kids had been sent home from school. We were just huddling and cuddling and talking about what happened. And I had pre-scheduled the email. And there was this real backlash, like, Fabienne, you of all people, how could you market this program or event or whatever it was so heartlessly? I don't expect this from you. And honestly, I had totally forgotten about the automated email. And I was like, no, you don't understand. This isn't me. It was a mistake on my part. And so I spent a better part of that morning crafting a very heartfelt email. And I think the subject line was, I am so sorry. And I had tears rolling down my face, writing the email. And it was just basically a deep, heart-led apology for the mistake that I made in marketing something. So I don't know. I mean, I always market from my heart, but I think it's just landed just less than 24 hours after the shooting. And it was just a mistake in a moment of connection and healing. And it was actually, just interestingly, it was one of the most opened emails in my career. And dozens and dozens of responses and replies came in. And, it was all like, thank you. And I honor you for writing it. And of course, we postponed that campaign. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I see some of our members right now saying, should I market this or should I not? Should I go through even though my heart tells me not to? And I think that traditional business models and traditional marketing often emphasizes pushing through regardless of external events or circumstances. And I'm bringing forth this idea that maybe we can listen to our hearts. And maybe your heart says, keep marketing the thing because they need it. And then so be it, go for it. But I'm inviting us to slow down and reassess and lead with authenticity. And maybe this is just an invitation to honor people's emotions and embrace adaptability and trusting that the right decision will ultimately lead to maybe even greater impact or success. I think this is about navigating change with grace and checking in with what the things that you can control and the things that you cannot control. You cannot control what's going on the outside, but you can control how you react to it, how you show up in your business, how you show up in your life. I think back to a Maya Angelou quote of, people remember how you made them feel. And I think that's one of my guiding philosophies, is that people may forget what you say and they may forget what you do, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at this. I make massive mistakes. I'm just human, right? You're human. You've made mistakes too. But what I want to invite us to think about is, how will somebody receive a communication from you? How will your audience feel respected and valued at any time? Do you want them to feel honored by your marketing during a crisis? Do you want to have them feel supported, or like you're not listening? And so I think this is where transparency and authenticity are super important as new business norms. I shared a pivotal lesson for many readers of my book, Embrace Your Magnificence. There's a whole section about doing the right thing, especially when no one's watching. I think I might have gotten that from Oprah, and it really moved me. And it's this idea of walking through life, walking through your business as if a video camera was on you at all times. Kind of like, what do you call those, reality TV show? And how would you act differently if everyone could see, your every move? And in today's world, I believe that transparency is becoming more and more critical. This idea that audiences are quick to recognize and to reward authenticity. At least this has been what I've noticed. The more authentic I can be, the more vulnerable I can be, the more honoring and compassionate. And I'm not saying perfect. Like, again, please don't shoot the messenger. I am so far from perfect. I will continue to make mistakes, but I will learn from them, hopefully. And I just invite you to think in your own business, and maybe you're already doing it. So let this be validation of your great work. But I just wanted to perhaps inspire future action for me and for you, if this resonates at all, to choose heart over hustle, over plans, over profit. And you know what? I think your audience will remember. Your clients will remember. And so thank you to my Boldheart members, my Boldies, yesterday for encouraging me to use my platform and my podcast to share just these thoughts and give you permission to really align everything you do in your business with your values. Because I think the right people will see you and say, she's the one for me. I want to work with her. And just maybe you and I can just fortify this journey of embracing heart-centered, heart-based, heart-led leadership. And so these are just some thoughts for today. Nothing earth-shattering, probably something you've already been thinking about, but I just want to encourage you, my dear sister, my friend, even if we haven't met yet, to reflect on your own decision-making processes and consider tapping into your heart even more, especially during times of collective challenge. Just a reminder that you're doing such a great job. You have so much on your plate. You have probably a family to take care of, probably an amazing friend, great business owner, great team leader, just great person all around. And just want to applaud you, just remind you of how much you're doing and how amazing of a person you are. So, sending you all my love. Thank you for tuning in today. I love you.